am going to plant an herb garden in a container. I've already put drainage material in my container, some rocks in the bottom, and I have a hole drilled in the bottom. I'm not going to lift the container up because it's full of potting soil. So I've made sure I had a good drainage hole in the bottom because herbs don't like to be really wet, because if they get really, really wet, the roots will rot and then your plants will die, and that is not what we want to do. So I've chosen three of my favorite herbs, and I'm going to plant those in this pot with my potting soil, just a commercial potting soil, something that's well drained. The first thing we're going to put in is thyme, and I love the name of this one. The variety is called Hi-Ho Silver. So it's nice because it has a little bit of white on the leaves and has beautiful sort of reddish stems. So we're going to gently tip this over, get it out of the pot. And you can pick up potted herbs at the farmer's market. You can get them at local nurseries, greenhouses. And if there are lots and lots of roots in here like this, you want to break that up a little bit. You can just take your thumb and forefinger and sort of separate that and break those roots slightly. This is what we call root pruning, and it helps those roots to fan out in the container once you get it potted. If there's a ring of roots around the bottom, just take your fingers and just sort of pull those roots out like that and let them start to fan out a little bit. They're going to be much, much happier when you start to plant them if you do that. Okay. A little more. Okay, so this is loosened up nicely. I'm just going to take my hand and I'm going to dig down in here. You want to plant these at the same level at which they were growing. Don't plant them too deep and don't plant them too shallow. We want to get those right in at that same level. Then we're going to gently push this potting soil around it. Firm it down a little bit. Don't pack it in too tight. And then you have that thyme starting to creep out around there. I'm going to save my label, put that over on the side so I know what it is later on, because sometimes I'll plant things and I'll forget what it is, or I'll know that it's thyme and I can't remember the variety. So we know that Hi-Ho Silver is over here on the, this side. Other things that I want to put in, this is one of my favorites because I love the fragrance of it. This is lavender. Smells so good. And the variety of this one is called Bridget Chloe. So it has a nice name to it. Oh, look at that. The roots aren't quite as tight as the thyme, but I'm still going to break those up a little bit. Never plant anything in a container without breaking up those roots, because if they're growing in that circle, they will continue to grow in that circle. So break them up. Like I said, pull a few off the bottom. There we go. And we can dig another little hole for this one. We're going to plant that right down in the center, because the lavender is going to get taller than the thyme. So we'll have that height here in the middle, and then this will sort of creep out over the sides. And here's another good one that has a nice fragrance. This is called sage, and this is variety is a very simple name, purple, because there is a green sage as well, but this has purple stems, and I thought it would look good with this thyme. So let's dump this one out. Oh, wow, look at the roots on this one. Whew! And I can't break those apart. So what I'm going to do is use my clippers. You could also use a knife or a pair of scissors, and you're just going to cut through. It seems really mean to do that, but the plants are just sort of going, it feels so good. It's like getting a good haircut when you need one. Then we can come in and pull some of these extra roots off the bottom. Give it a nice root pruning. That's much better. Now that's loosened up. Those new roots will fan out into the soil. So let's get this one planted down in here. Nestle him in, and just firm the soil around it, like so. Let's go ahead and put these other labels in. Like I told you, we don't want to forget who they are. And you can stop at this point. If you want, you can just add some rocks to it, because herbs grow in naturally rocky areas. So you could put some rocks in there if you want. You could also be creative. Paint your rocks different colors. You could put your name on there. You could put the plant names on the rocks. All different kinds of things. You could paint these to look like insects. All kinds of fun things with the rocks in your container gardens. love doing that. So I'm just going to turn that slightly so you can see. And there you have a nice herb garden in a pot.